There was a time when we were super excited to play any and every game on Switch, but as more and more of the third-party percentage is made up by ports, are we getting a little tired of this whole shindig? And it's brought to extra light by two rumors that have hit that we wanted to discuss. One being, Gabe, that Dark Souls 2 is on the way. Dark Souls 1 is not here yet, the remastered Dark Souls 1, but apparently Dark Souls 2, according to Leaky Pandy and his source at Bandai Namco, is already under development. And then the second is that Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered, someone went and discovered a collection of Switch button icons inside the game, indicating that maybe that title is going to move to the hybrid eventually as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not where it ends. We know that Saints Row, the third, not the fourth game, which is the newest entry in the franchise, is coming to Switch. So, yeah, when we were discussing this, I said, man, unfortunately, the Switch is kind of becoming this graveyard for very old games. And don't get us wrong, Nintendo is still pumping out quality content, and they will continue to. We have no doubt about that. We just wish that third parties were kind of giving us their newest outings instead of stuff that came out a long time ago.
And that is what Bethesda has tried to do. They've advanced that process from Skyrim to Doom to then Wolfenstein 2 and now Eternal day and date. And there are other companies doing that. And the indie scene is obviously just absolutely huge when it comes to exciting, interesting content. But it would be no problem to have these sorts of ports if we also got the new stuff. The issue is that the third-party content is more and more becoming these games from yesteryear. I have no issue with Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered. That was a fun game back in the day. I don't know how well it sold on PS4 and Xbox One, but it was a fine title, and that's a cool thing to bring back for fans or people that missed out on that game. But PlayStation 4 and Xbox One also have everything else. And so it just sort of makes them seem, I feel, more important and at the same time more kind of, maybe not depressing, but a little worrisome that this is what continues to come. And for us personally, it's not as exciting to just play old stuff because you can take it on the go.
Yeah, because that was that is and continues to be one of the main attractions of Nintendo Switch. The fact that you can take it on the go with you. When this thing was first announced, I was so excited. I said, man, I'm going to be able to play this thing anywhere I go. I'm not going to be tethered to my desk anymore. And then unfortunately reality hit and hey, Gabe, you don't really go anywhere. So, sometimes when I travel for events and whatever other stuff we get into, it's really helpful and useful. I love having the Switch with me. I play Splatoon at airports whenever I can. But Unfortunately, I don't go through those scenarios often enough that it's that big of a incentive for me, right? Doom Eternal, right? Good example. It's coming to Switch, PC, everything, same day. Taking it on the go, it might not be the incentive it once used to be because now, again, reality just hit me and I'm like, dude, I don't really go anywhere. When I'm playing Switch, most of the time I'm at my desk. And that's where I play games on PC. And that's where I play games on Xbox and PS4, everything. So why not have the best experience possible? The Switch is great. I love it. It's still my favorite console. It's my favorite console, hands down. It's not even close. But some of that novelty has worn off for you. For me, I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think I can speak for both of us and say that for a lot of this stuff, especially the new stuff, it still is cool to play it portably. Even if it's not actually adventuring out into the world, just being able to take it around the house, for me still is a fantastic experience. And then being able to take it on small trips, even if it's not airplane level, just, I'm waiting at a doctor's office or, I'm just, whatever, after dinner, sitting on the couch and hanging out with my brothers. And I think for new stuff that still applies. Like Gabe said, it's still our favorite console. It just is making these third-party ports from way long ago, they're just not as interesting anymore. And I find it very hard to drum up enthusiasm for a Saints Row the Third or even a Dark Souls 2 or a Red Faction Remastered, specifically because we've done it and we've now done Switch, and so merging two things that we've done, it's not, the appeal isn't there. And I really wish these third parties would just, instead of utilizing the Switch as sort of a place to put your your stuff that you want to sell again, like to invest in new experiences. And I don't know, like does it change? Is it something that is driven by sales? Probably. So it'll be really interesting to see how things like Dark Souls Remastered, given its sort of tumultuous journey to release, and then I guess the eventual Dark Souls 2, if that comes out, Saints Row the Third, if these things bomb, maybe that changes the tune. I don't know that even if they bomb, I don't know that the replacement is brand new stuff. So at that point, you is it better to have something than nothing? I don't know. I just know that these ports don't excite me anymore.
So then absolutely the key would be day and date releases for these games. Because part of the reason why we're not excited for like Dark Souls 2 is because it's already out everywhere else. If Dark Souls 2 didn't exist and
by almost by so many years.
Yeah, no. In this hypothetical where Dark Souls 2 like doesn't exist yet, and then it's getting put on Switch and everything else on the same day, then cool. That's a perfect scenario. That's exactly what we want. But yeah, like years and years later, when you've probably A, already played the game, and B, it's cheaper elsewhere. Like there's so many hurdles that need to be jumped when you're like porting something like Red Faction out. I'm sure you can go find Red Faction for dirt cheap in a lot of places. So are you gonna pay like whatever premium it's gonna cost on Switch? Like probably not, right?
And obviously, a consistent content feed is good, and I'm never gonna complain about more games on the Switch. It just is starting to be a non-factor for me in that way that, hey, I'm glad that third parties are doing something, but I'm like, they're no longer good. They don't have that spell cast over me of like, oh, it's Saints Row on the Switch. You get to play it on the go. Ooh, it's Dark Souls 2 on this. Like, that is the part that I think most specifically is gone. And so now I'm like, okay, great that you're keeping content. Great that you're putting things out there. There surely are people that will still be interested and enamored by the idea of playing these on the go and want to relive those experiences. But please give us something new. Please give us something day and date. And that's why I have to applaud Panic Button and Doom Eternal and Bethesda so much, because they're trying. And you look at the games like the NBA 2Ks, like they're trying. And that's where I hope things go, so it doesn't just become the 5-year-old recycle machine when it comes to third parties.
Yeah, and that's not what we want it to be whatsoever. We want newer experiences. That's why some of these like indies that come out, that like Dead Cells, good example. Like, yeah, it was like on early access on Steam, but that game hadn't like been out for like years, and then it's finally come to Switch. It was still like a relatively like newer experience. And Dragon Ball, another good example. Like, yeah, like it's been out, but it's still like close enough that I feel like that's still like a really good port. Yeah, it would have been awesome if it was day and date, but at least it's not like 5 years later, man.
Yeah, so I think this idea of, hey, we're going to bring back these games that you love because now you can play them on the go. Last year at this time I would have said, great, bring it on, whatever you got. And now it would need to be a really specific title to get me invested. It would have to be a personal top 5 franchise to make me want to relive that. And frankly, it would have to be at a price point that is really palatable. If you're going to do this and you're going to bring this stuff back and that's going to be your effort, the inclination is to up the charge because you're putting the time and the effort, and this is your claim on the Switch, right? It's not like, oh, we also have Sekiro Shadows Die Twice coming to Switch, and they're just gonna, Dark Souls 2 as like a little extra cash in. Like, this is what they're looking to do. I kind of worry about what happens with third parties, and I think a game like Doom Eternal will be telling in how that sells and how that does, and hopefully other companies can see that and try to replicate.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the future we all want for Switch, where third parties are putting major releases day and date, and we don't even have this issue.
How many people are still really psyched about taking any good game on the go? How many people are still really into the idea of bringing titles from yesteryear back on the Switch, because then you can play them portably, and it's the first chance you'd have to take something like Saints Row the Third with you wherever you went, or to take Red Faction, to the doctor's office, to take Dark Souls 2 on the school bus. Does that still get you going? Does that still excite you? And is it, something that you want to see more of? Or is the allure of recycled content with an interesting perk, has it left the building? Because it seems like it has for us, and it'll be really interesting to see where third parties decide to stake their claim in 2019, because I feel like we're going to get a lot more of this and maybe not as much Doom Eternal. But we'll see how it all plays out. Let us know in the comments down below how you feel about these ports, especially the ones that are dug from past generations, maybe in some cases past decades. Hopefully not too many of those. But yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest and greatest from the Switch and its lineups. I am doubly excited for all the new stuff coming later this year. Don't get me wrong. Just some of this, there's an audience for it, I'm sure. I just feel like I'm fading out of that group. So let us know how you feel, and follow us on Twitter and Discord. We'd love to hear from you there. Links in the description below. Until next time, everybody, for myself and Gabe, thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. Switch Force out.